ridiculous.
No, but you really hit on a point with the she's not better to be a wife kind of thing because of how clean her house is. That feels like misogyny on the highest level.
The highest
I've
level.
never heard a woman ever in my mother life say he was not ready to be a husband because his house was dirty. I've never heard it.
You want to know who co-signed that?
Who?
Is what's his name from last season, who played AB.
Oh, Clay.
I saw him. He's saying that, like, yeah, she can't, like, she wasn't ready to be a wife.
Oh, well, you weren't ready to be a husband, my guy. So who are you? What are you saying? What's going on with that? You weren't ready to be a husband, my dude.
She wanted a nap for an hour and not want to show up for his family. And I'm like, y'all are weird.
The fundamental, I'm so glad you brought up Clay. The fundamental thing that Clay and Tim have in common is that they think they're going to meet a textbook wife.
Audacious.
And she's going to meet all of their requirements, and that's going to make them show up differently. It's not. Y'all still going to suck.
What's his name? Clay says that he wants a look.
Just pick up your phone, tell me where you'll be, cause I gotta know. Let me know when you're ready, cause I made reservations, too many invitations.
Okay, Harmony.
Starting 3. I don't think we've got to the harmony before.
I don't. Just me.
Tell me where your location. Used to talk
What? Was it you saying?
No, I was joking. Fuck no.
Oh, you got me.
I'd be sitting down here if I was
It's like, wow,
a singer
you
like
can really
that.
blend.
Yeah.
All right, so we are live to YouTube. So you guys go ahead and take it away.
Hello. Welcome to Therapy Rebranded. We're both the hosts are 30 motherfucking years old. What does it mean that our birthdays are 3 days apart?
We're soulmates.
Does it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Toxic.
I made that up in my head.
All right.
Okay, ready? Set. 1, 2, 3. Good.
I realized I wasn't on camera. 30, dirty. Ooh.
But you're older, so that matters too. Wow. Our birth order matters.
I'm wiser.
You are. You have more time on this earth.
I do. I don't think this is my first time here.
I believe
If you believe in that.
I do.
I don't know if I actually do, but if I did believe in it, I would say this is probably I'm halfway through. Maybe this is not my last time. I'm a little too motherfucking petty, but I'm somewhere in the
You got some more shit to do the next time around. That's funny as fuck. Cheers.
Happy and we're wearing the merch that's not on sale because our podcast mother,
your mother,
Brooke, got us these hoodies.
I want to turn around
because she's the sweetest. Nothing. You can't see her. Because she's the sweetest lady.
She's so cute. So cheers to Brooke. Thanks for having my bestie. Oh shit.
Cheers.
You're wiping that up, Julie.
You know, I will.
No,
you know
I'm
what?
joking.
You know what it is? Actually, cheers to not aborting me. What was she? 17?
Woo! Smart choice.
I would have aborted me. So
Smart choice.
Cheers to her. It's fine.
Okay.
Should we get into Reddit or are you gonna dig in first?
I mean,
you were about to grumble through it.
I'm a little I'm
thirsty for it.
You know what this is?
What?
If anybody's wondering, you have to go to Trader Joe's. It's pancake bread. So I actually have no idea how it's gonna taste.
Oh,
but it's supposed to taste like pancakes. What does AIO stand for?
Am I the asshole?
Am I overreacting?
Oh,
Am
sorry.
I overreacting?
You're right. Thank you. Am I overreacting?
Fiance did coke at a party. Me, 41 male, my fiance, 36-year-old female, were at friend's birthday party. I had to leave early, and she was going to spend the night. It was a hotel. They were changing into their bathing suits to go to the pool. They had the bathroom door closed. I knew it was in there, but I didn't know she was going to partake in that. She told me she only did a small bump because she needed energy to party all night. I was caught off guard by this and said that we should have discussed this. She said that She said that I was treating her like a child, and that is when I left. Edit. I was told to add this info. She's a former meth addict who still drinks and smokes weed quite heavily at times.
Can I say that makes all the difference in the world? They're all of the difference. Okay.
They're British.
Wait, hold on. Pause. Rachel, without the meth, and we smoke all the time, which you don't care about, but without the meth, is it wrong for him to be pissed she did a bump in the bathroom?
No.
It's not wrong.
No.
He deserves to be pissed.
Yeah.
Why?
Because that shit is weird. It's coke that makes holes in your brains. Like, what the fuck? Why are you also you're sneaking drugs?
So it's hard drugs. That's why.
Yeah.
But is she sneaking because she told him?
Oh, did she tell him?
And he knew it was in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think if my partner went in there and without all the other stuff, and they just went in there and did coke and like or whatever, I'd be pissed.
I'd be pissed too.
Because I'm like, what the fuck?
reason I would be pissed is because how are we in a relationship and I don't know you do coke?
That's wild.
That would be the part that's upsetting to me is like, how little do I know my partner that you wouldn't do a bump in the bathroom? I feel like you should know that about your partner.
With other people, like just random.
No, in general. I feel like you should know that about your partner if there's somebody who does coke when they're drinking.
I totally agree.
Like, I would feel betrayed that I didn't know that about them.
It's a big deal.
That would be the thing. It wouldn't even be about, like, the hardcore of it, none of that. How do I, as your partner, not know that that's something you would do? Like, that feels gross to me.
Guys. Listen, the only reason I did the little bump of coke is because I needed the energy to party all night.
Take your ass to bed, bitch. Pop an Addy. Coke?
Nuts.
I'm just kidding about the Addy. It's
However, he knew it was in there. So to me, that is like some context that's made. If like people aren't like,
I know
they
there's
had to
coke.
be open.
I know there's
about
coke
it.
at the club. It doesn't mean that I expect all my friends or my man to go and do the coke that's at the club.
But they're in a hotel room partying, right?
So clearly, and this is why I said you don't know your girlfriend or your fiance, because clearly you thought your fiance was going to be appalled by the coke and just change her swimsuit and come out.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the part is like you don't know her. Like and I think that's the part that's like, I think whether or not somebody does coke, I mean, I'm guessing they're white.
Of course.
There's a lot of white people I've been around who do coke casually, but I just think there's something odd about like not knowing that your partner would do coke casually. Like I think
that your partner does any drugs is weird.
Yeah. And then the meth shit, absolutely not. I was in a similar situation with not meth, but like I remember when my serious boyfriend who ended up overdosing and dying, so I wasn't wrong, was like, I'm smoking weed again, and it all came out and whatever. And I like freaked out about it, and everybody was like, everyone was like, you're crazy. And I was like,
I'm not crazy.
People don't blow up their life over weed. Like you also just have an intuition when you know somebody, right? So for you to bring up that she's done meth before, like that's you saying like she has addiction issues.
Right.
Like, and like, I also think it's interesting that she told you she'd done meth before and you guys were at this party. And like, so like, did you think she was sober? Did you think she was working on being sober? Did you think she gave up her drug of choice? Like, it's also hard to know what you guys agreed on and talked about. I have no idea.
It gives you do drugs too.
It's just weird to do things without your partner knowing, in a sense, without being open. Like, and I don't know where that line is, you know?
I think the line is like, I even think it'd be different to go do coke in the bathroom and then tell your partner the next day you did coke like they weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because that to me, I would at least be earnest. Like you didn't think I would give a fuck.
So for like Rachel and I, for instance, single people, how soon in we start dating someone do we have to start showing the monsters from your closet? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how late or early do I?
Within the year.
I hate this question because I think it all within the year, but it also like depends on the fucking relationship.
It's within the year. I think it's within the year. And like, I think it also depends on how fast you're moving, how serious it is, how open you're being.
Well, I'm a love bomber, so I do it right away. No.
You're a trauma dumper.
You know what's so interesting is like the guy that I dated that was sober, who ended up relapsing, but sober. He told me everything like first date.
I do it pretty early all the time just because you don't want to surprise. Like, it feels like a lie to walk around with it.
And it was of the relationship.
And I think like it was less weird that I did it first date because we've been in class together for like 3 or 4 months and chit-chatting. You know? So I think it was like, he was kind of like, oh, I got to tell her this before she like
figures it out.
Dives in.
And
or like dives in.
Yeah, like I wouldn't tell a fuck buddy or whatever.
But like if you're like working, like you're trying to get someone interested in you, they finally go on a date with you.
Yes.
You got to tell them.
Yeah.
I actually think we went on one date, and then the second date when we just like hung out at his place, he told me. And like we just like, he told me everything. Like the drugs he did, how early he started, how serious it was. He didn't tell me his trauma, like why he did the drugs, but he was like, no, it was bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like that made me trust him more. Because I was kind of like, oh, you're authentic, you're straightforward. Like, I actually kind of believe you're trying, like, you're authentic about getting off all these drugs because you're telling me.
Yeah.
Like, all of that to me made me trust him more. All of that made me trust him more.
That's what Shorty Love Is Blind said about Homeboy.
No.
She was like, I thought he wouldn't cheat on me because he was telling me about all the times he cheated.
That's not the same.
I mean,
it's not the same. That's interesting, though.
It's not the same. Yeah, someone did say that. They were like, he told you he cheated before, and why didn't you think he was going to cheat on you? And she was like, because he was telling me.
Yeah.
It's not the same because I feel like that's like a relational piece of how like, you interact in relationships. Fair. And I feel like
the other thing was personal.
Well, and he was literally in like
individual.
sober living.
Yeah.
He was very serious about being sober. Like that wasn't made up. All of his friends were sober. Like his life reflected that.
Yeah.
Not all of his friends at home, but like all of his friends at the school and stuff. Like it all reflected that. But yeah, definitely people would be like, you heard the story. How could you not?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, I low-key grew up white trash-ish, and like I didn't know anybody who tried to be sober or was serious about being sober. Like everybody I knew who was an addict was an addict. Like there was no like I gave all that up and I'm like clean. I've never heard of that in my life before I met him. So of course I was like, oh, this means something, and it did. He was trying. It was earnest. He just relapsed. But yeah, I would break up with her, bro. I would break up with her immediately. With the meth history, I would break up with her. Like no question about it. Meth history, no question about it. She's not taking her sobriety seriously.
And hiding shit from you already.
And hiding shit from you and downplaying it. Because, you know, everyone, and this is me. I'm not bad at lying. Most people who aren't bad at lying, like you just cop to a lesser lie. Didn't do one bump.
Exactly. No, you're right. I mean, like, I agree 100%.
She put in on that shit.
Yeah, she didn't do one bump. She fucking went in there and railed it out as much as she could and then came out.
One bump does not keep you going the entire night for partying. Yeah.
I didn't even know. I've never done coke, but
I've never done coke.
I have been around coke, and from what I've heard, like you have to do it throughout the night.
Yeah, I was
like
gonna say,
it's not. It's just like
45 minutes.
I saw it for the first time this year. I'd never seen it before.
Does it scare you guys to see it then?
Yeah,
like, I mean, does it feel
acted like a narc. I literally touched it and dropped it because I thought like I literally in my head I was like the cops are gonna come and like scan my hands and nose on my hands, which is stupid. It's not.
It doesn't freak me out, but I'll throw hands if you bring it in my car.
Yeah, that's why
I'll throw hands if you bring it in my car, but no, it doesn't freak me out.
I'm like jealous of people, like when I'm aware of that, how much I'm unaffected by all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember when it used to scare the shit out of me.
It freaked me out who I was with. I think if I were in
you
like
cared about the people who were using it. Yeah. You were like, you're using it, like there are people
literally. But if I was at a party, I would be cool.
Yeah. It didn't freak me out, but if you like brought it in my car, I would throw hands. But it's because I don't trust you that you're gonna say it's your coke.
Facts.
So then I'm fucked if you don't.
Because bitches it ain't mine. I have to pee so badly.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt this wonderful check-in, but it got a little too personal. So if you'd like to hear the rest of it, subscribe to us on Patreon. Now, back to the show.
Where are we starting?
We're going to start with Love is Blind. So I thought the reunion came out yesterday. We both watched it because clearly we don't have lives.
I watched it this morning.
Okay, excuse me. You're already asleep at 8 p.m.?
No,
that's the time it came out.
No, when you texted me, I was asleep last night.
That's funny, but it was late when I texted you.
Yeah, I fell asleep on my couch at 9:30 and woke up at 2 and moved to my bed.
That's the best.
The best.
The best feeling.
The best.
When you wake up and you're like, oh, I have so much more time to sleep.
And Gigi was waiting for me. She didn't even move without me. I was like, oh my God, you're my bitch for real.
Your cat loves you.
No, literally. Okay, anyway.
Okay, so last time we had talked about Love is Blind, Ashley and Tyler were the couple that it came out that he was a sperm donor. Mm-hmm. So on the reunion, we were all very excited to hear what he had to say.
Which was pretty much the same thing that he had said before. He did give more explanation, which I felt did make like...
He basically said that I said I was a sperm donor because I didn't want the kids to be impacted or the family to be impacted. And originally I was a sperm donor. However, the person who I had all those kids with, their relationship ended with her partner. And so I was helping out because I have empathy for those children.
And got her pregnant again.
Yes.
But
he didn't talk about that.
But he didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
So what's her name is fine with it.
Ashley.
Ashley is fine with it.
Yeah, so the woman, I think everyone was holding their breath and waiting for what she had to say, what the woman had to say, and her party line, and I am calling it a party line because it felt political and propaganda-ish. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't feel real, but it felt like I'm running with my man, and I feel you. If that's what you want to do, you kind of have to do this. But she said, I was in the loop. I knew about it. I was in on the lie, basically, is what she said. And she said, nothing about the shooting of the show looked like that. She looked gutted. She looked like she wanted to vomit. I'm sorry.
And she said she was like, oh, well, we had already had the conversation, and then so we just had to have it for the cameras. I'm like, girl, that seemed like you were not. If so, that was good acting because you were upset.
Great acting. Well, and I think she tried to say I was upset, so that's why we had to do it for the cameras. Mm-hmm. I, however, feel like
you don't get to, I feel like you don't get to come on a show like this and hide that you have 3 children whose lives you are involved with and say it's for the kids. I think that was deceptive. You didn't tell Ashley in the pods is when Ashley should have known. So even if you're telling the truth, which I don't think you are, be totally upfront, don't think you are.
I don't think so either.
I think you're a fucking liar.
And the way he talked about her lets me know that he's a liar. I just felt like that. Like, it was just too gushy, too this or that. It's too perfect. It's too, like, I'm like, come on.
Well, it's a once in a lifetime love. And you know what? You know what it's like when you're in an unstable relationship with an unstable person and it feels good? It does feel like a once in a lifetime love.
You have to overdo it.
You do.
You have to overdo it to make it work. That's what I was going to say.
Not even overdo it. You feel like the sun is shining when things aren't bad.
That's true. You're like, well, we get it right. It feels so right.
And that's because, like, you love them, but there's also this relief that comes with it not being shitty anymore.
Your body's, like, relaxed for once. I totally agree with that.
And then you, like, overread into how much that means.
Yes.
Like, oh, that must mean that we have, like, this deep connection or we have this big thing. And it doesn't.
As I was sitting there watching it, I was, like, taking notes about, you know, I just was, like, getting this vibe. And I feel like you were speaking to this a little bit. But in my head, I was like, you're being a hater.
Cool, you?
Yeah. In my head, I was
Why did you feel like you were being a hater?
I felt like I
on
was,
Ashley and Tyler?
Ashley and Tyler. I was like, you know, whenever like they turned to them and were just talking about them, and I was trying to just like watch it for what it was and trying not to like delve into it and whatever. And I was like, okay, they're saying the right things. What if I just take it for what it is at its word? And then when I think you already said this, but it just seems so insincere. He seems so insincere. There's no way that he's so wonderful that he could lie to you about that and it would just be fine.
Yeah, that's the only lie. There's no way that's the only lie.
What'd she say? Like, he's the love of my life and this is a once in a lifetime love and so I'm willing to, like, she's like, not anything. I'm like, girl, this is just about anything.
This is just about anything.
This is just about anything. And I feel like this is the thing that I was wrestling with is, what is it that you know about this relationship that somebody else might say, what? Like, that's bitter, that's a hater, whatever it is. Like that you're hating on black love. Because I think on Twitter and on TikTok, people are like, well, that's black love. Y'all are hating. They make it through whatever. I don't agree with that. But like, what is, if you could break it down, like, what is that difference? Like, why are we having a feeling when it comes up? And why are other people reacting to, they're so strong, they're, whatever the thing is?
Well, okay, I think there's 2 things. I think one, some people truly believe. So when I rewatched Love is Blind, like, I think I'd said this last time, but like I watched the part after the pods with you by just fast forwarding everything and showing you what was worth watching so we could talk about it on the podcast. And so I showed you everything in their relationship because I knew we were going to talk about it. And as I was watching their relationship, I felt like the way that they were interacting and talking didn't reflect the gravity of the situation. Like, there is no way that I would be like, our number one strength is communication. And
this is what
I didn't know he had 3 children. Even if he's like an uncle figure and not a dad figure, I didn't know he had 3 children he uncled.
Does that feel like the drug thing earlier that you mentioned?
What do you mean by that?
Like, if you don't know that your partner's doing coke in the bathroom,
yes,
it's that.
Yeah, like that is the
it's the tip of the iceberg.
It's the tip of the iceberg is how it feels. And I think, you know, fine, if you're in the loop now and like he told you off camera everything and like you guys are together and you guys are one, that's your decision. But that still doesn't align with he's trustworthy. Like, if you were my homegirl, like if Ashley was my bestie, I would be supporting her 100%. But there would be a little part of me that's waiting for the shoe to drop, like kind of the whole time. And I just don't know how you don't lie about other things and lie about that. The other thing is he was saying throughout the show, she's the first person who ever made him feel safe. This is what unconditional love feels like.
I had this down.
If you are somebody who's never been safe in a relationship, then you probably have a lot of unhealthy strategies to manage those feelings. A lot of lying is probably going on. A lot of manipulating is probably going on. Not even because you're a bad person, simply because you don't trust people. You don't automatically trust someone and then learn how to shed all of those strategies you used before. They come with you into the next relationship. So if the way you interact with people is, I can't be authentic, I can't be myself, I can't share my feelings, women aren't trustworthy, that no matter how much you love Ashley, that shit's not going away because you put a ring on it, my guy. or because you decided you love her. Those are ingrained in you. That is part of your belief system and how you see the world. There's absolutely no way that all of that changed because you fell in love.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
Love does not solve all.
Life doesn't work that way. So that's kind of why I was watching it and I was kind of like, I'm not even mad that she has his back because this is what you have to do if you're going to stay married. Totally. You have to do this. Like there's no other option.
That's what a couples therapist would say is you either let it go or you kind of make amends and whatever. Like she's...
Other part too is that this is quote black love because how many black women do we know are celebrated for holding it down through
struggle
trash
love.
Men? Struggle love. Yes. Describe struggle love.
Struggle love is like when when you read like a couple's like caption to each other on their anniversary and they talk about the highs and the lows and the lows are cheating and infidelity and stealing money and whooping your ass and just doing all that fucked up shit.
Struggle love.
That's struggle love. Struggle love is not like holding your man down through college while he like tries to like get a degree or vice versa or whatever it is. Somebody like being manipulative, somebody being like dangerous towards you or putting you at risk or like being mean, ongoing, whatever the thing is, that's struggle love.
I can't jump on the bandwagon of kind of pedestaling all these women who rid it out through their man's 20s, 30s, and 40s, and now in their 50s, the man's being
you do it 3
faithful.
Decades?
Now the man's being faithful because he slowed down.
Because you were the last one? Because you were the last one?
Because you held it out. Because you held it out and he slowed down. I can't. Even if you met him in your 30s and his 30s, 40s, 50s, like these women who waited out until their men slow down and stop being trash, which I'm not saying Ashley is, but like that is that struggle love shit.
Is waiting for a man, period, like 5 years, 10 years, whatever.
Struggle.
I
struggle
agree.
bus. It's
Why?
the struggle bus.
Waiting for somebody to change is not gonna play out well.
It might. Eventually, you will get what you want.
In 3
Eventually,
decades,
he'll claim you.
Yeah.
If you wait on it for 30 years, you're gonna get.
Yeah,
But it's not worth it. That's my opinion. So I think that's like the celebration of like, and the context is that black love in a lot of ways is really hard because there's a lot of things that are weighing on the black community, weighing on black individuals and make it more complex to be with each other. I totally agree with that. That doesn't mean that we have to struggle through it. And like, they're not together.
They are not synonymous. They don't have to go together.
They don't. Then there was Tim and Alex.
Woo!
And
See what I wrote about these niggas.
yes, please pull it up. And I just couldn't stop thinking when I was looking at Tim that like he doesn't know himself. He's not self-aware. That's how I felt when he was talking. You're not self-aware. You don't know how you come across and how shitty you are. When he said when a man is trying to love you, that threw me.
Because you have no idea. It's also just such a I want to be in a relationship or I want a woman just because that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
It was giving me, you should act differently because I'm putting myself out there. And that to me is like, she's putting herself out there. Why should she act differently? Why should she hold your feelings or your effort on a pedestal?
Yo, black men are going in on her.
Are they?
Yes. Talking about how like she didn't want to show him her apartment. And so that's weird.
But she did.
That's what I thought, but it just like wasn't clean or something, which I didn't watch that part. Maybe I should go back and watch. People were like, but it was gross and she like wasn't ready to be a wife. Which he like mentioned is that like
misogyny. What do you mean she wasn't ready to be a wife because her house wasn't clean? Or like, misogyny. That's what I thought. Nobody looks at a man and says you aren't ready to be a husband because your house isn't clean.
You went out all night and blah 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 blah.
She corrected him though.
She did.
She corrected him. She was like, the night I went out was not the night before your parents came.
And he tried to play her.
He didn't confirm or deny. He just kept going back to the night. Kept going back to the night, which means you're lying.
Ridiculous.
No, but you really hit on a point with the she's not better to be a wife kind of thing because of how clean her house is. That feels like misogyny on the highest level.
The highest
I've
level.
never heard a woman ever in my motherfucking life say he was not ready to be a husband because his house was dirty. I've never heard it.
You want to know who co-signed that?
Who?
Is what's his name from last season? Who played AB?
Oh, Clay.
I saw him. He's saying that, like, yeah, she can't, like, she wasn't ready to be a wife.
Oh, well, you weren't ready to be a husband, my guy. So who are you? What are you saying? What's going on with that? You weren't ready to be a husband, my dude.
She didn't want to. She wanted to nap for an hour and not want to show up for his family. And I'm like, y'all are weird.
The fundamental. I'm so glad you brought up Clay. The fundamental thing that Clay and Tim have in common is that they think they're gonna meet a textbook wife.
Audacious.
And she's gonna meet all of their requirements, and that's gonna make them show up differently. It's not. Y'all still gonna suck.
What's his name? Clay says that he wants a hoe, like a low-key hoe, or he needs somebody who like does like little kinky shit for himself, but he wants it to be like the librarian who's like low key.
There isn't a librarian that's kinky unless she's kinky outside of the library. Like women who are great at sex are often sexually experienced. You can't pull them apart.
They don't work.
You can't pull them apart. I just like
I'm good in bed because I'm good in bed.
You've been in bed.
Because I've been in bed. Like, what are you talking about? You like it here because I'm good at this shit. Like, what are you talking about?
I just think like everything about Tim was like the way I conducted myself was because you suck, and I'm just like a real like a human, not even a real man, a real like accountable person that's an adult. Like they conduct themselves how they conduct themselves regardless.
Agreed.
It's one thing if you got out your body, but he wouldn't even admit I got out of my body. It'd be different if he was like, I got out of character because I was so mad. He wouldn't even admit that. He's saying he was in character and she just sucks. What?
And the way that she was describing like their interaction when they were in Cabo or Mexico, and like they had like this interaction they didn't show on camera that they talked about. And
which sounds like she covered his mouth because she was trying to have it not go on camera.
Which he misrepresented is what it sounds. Because
the first time he misrepresented it because he said she put her hands on me.
Yes.
And she was like, whoa. Like,
and on the reunion, he was like, no, she didn't put her hands on me. I just felt like it was a boundary violation.
But you're telling her she knows she's going to be punished if the cameras come in and you being an asshole goes on TV. She knows that your marriage can't make it past that and you're going to be shitty to her.
And I know the exact feeling. I feel like I know the exact feeling that she had. And she was a little bit speechless around what he exactly did to her. And I feel like I know, like he was probably belittling or
she said he put his finger in her face and was in her face.
Yes. And so was being, intimidating or whatever the thing is. And he was like, well, he had all these like specific examples that she couldn't come up with. And I feel like that's such a common dynamic where it's like she can't.
The person who's being attacked is so upset they don't have a clear recollection of everything specifically that happened, but they know in their gut you was wrong.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like
that's you.
No, totally. Totally. I was like, I know that I was wronged, but I don't know how, or I don't know what the words
or they were wrong.
Right, exactly.
Like I know in my gut what happened, but I can't prove it.
There was something fucked up that happened, and there was a reason why I acted like that.
And I've been her in relationships where I'm a grown up. Like I would say I'm always been a little bit older than I actually am, right? And so like when I'm doing bad, I want to be alone and process it alone, and I want to be left alone. And I've been in romantic relationships where the man takes that as a personal offense. It's a personable, because he was saying, I was trying to figure out what was happening. Why is you knowing what's wrong right now is more important than the fact that I'm not okay and I'm telling you what I need.
I'm telling you.
If I as a woman am saying I'm not okay and I need to be alone,
you need to go.
I don't need to fill you in before you go. And that's like a level of entitlement that I've encountered with a lot of men. My current boyfriend's not like that, but this notion of like, no, you need to fill me in, make me feel secure, tell me you're not mad at me before I leave you alone. No, I'm in crisis and I need to be left alone.
I'm telling you what I need
I'm telling you what I need, and I don't need to convince you that I deserve it.
Just because you're uncomfortable with
so if feelings. I agree with her in this notion of like, this fight went to 0 to 100 because I told you I wasn't okay and you wouldn't leave me alone. What do you expect?
It's literally somebody being I don't think people understand somebody being in your space and not leaving is one of the most
violating.
It's violating. It's one of those unsettling feelings. Even if they're not touching you.
Especially as a woman. It's not a fear thing. It's powerlessness. You're not afraid. Like she didn't think Tim was going to hit her.
There's nothing you can do.
But you can't physically remove them. And you're trying not to involve cameras. So you don't want to embarrass you or him. There's all this social pressure. He's telling you out loud, you need to consider my feelings right now. That shit's overwhelming.
I actually do think that's why many women get out of hand is because I've gotten that way, like bodily out of hand and like shoving or whatever, because somebody wouldn't listen to me or get out of my way.
Wouldn't leave.
Leave.
And I'm begging you to leave.
Right. And so you're like, okay, now I'm resorting to physically pushing you out of my space.
Well, because I've been on the phone with you before when you tried to leave somewhere and they wouldn't let you.
Terrifying.
And to have a guy in your face like wagging his finger up. Imagine you are having like a mental breakdown, because this is also someone who comes from a family with addicts. Your dad's in treatment. You need a second. You're getting updated about everything that's fucking happening. And you're like, I need to decompress. By the way, off camera, because you're terrified. I know men are terrified to look like the angry black man. Women are terrified to look like the angry black woman. You don't want to fight on camera.
I don't want to look
like you clearly care about optics. Like, just give me a second.
Just give me a second.
give and to use all of that against me and be like, you're lucky I'm still here. You can't, when someone does something you think is a boundary cross, if you stay, so Tim's saying like her putting her hand there, it's a boundary cross, right? If you feel like you're with somebody who crossed your boundaries and you stay, you can't hold them against that. You can't hold that against them every second of every day and have them appreciate and want them to be grateful that you're there. If you stayed, it's because you wanted to move past the thing. You don't get to be like, I stayed and suck my dick every day. No.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like
You
that.
have to rake me over the coals.
I was telling Rachel this, but the whole reunion just felt like every man who was under a microscope was just blubbering. Like I couldn't tell you what they said.
Yeah.
I don't
know what Ramses said.
Ramses said what he said on the show, which was basically that he didn't like her energy, and
she
then
wasn't sexual enough.
And then, well, he actually said that wasn't the issue,
Whatever.
and everyone attacked him.
Okay.
He didn't like her. She wouldn't peg him. I'm just kidding. Why did he show up looking like an anime villain?
With the little cut eyebrows.
I was dying. But no, he said that he didn't like, Ramses said he didn't like Marissa. Now we're on it. If you haven't watched the show, just fast forward. But Ramses didn't like Marissa's energy. And that was everything he said. But I thought it was either her mom or Marissa. That Marissa's mom or Marissa made this point. She said, no, it's Marissa. She said, basically, why didn't you give me the opportunity to fix that? Like, why didn't you tell me ahead of time? And he said, because I didn't know. And I thought that was so valid. Because I think if you as a partner are telling somebody, you propose to them. Again, this is breaking the fourth wall, which we talked about last time. Like, yes, obviously proposing after a couple weeks is ridiculous, but you did it. And they thought you were all in.
But you played the game.
And you changed your mind. They deserve to know the second you think about changing your mind. And he didn't want to have to go through that turmoil. He wanted to be set in his decision before he brought it up. I don't believe him. He wanted to be set in his decision. He wanted to know what he wanted to do. He talked to all of his trusted people, and then he made a choice. And he kind of made it act like, well, I didn't know it's the last second. Bullshit.
Not true. You were sitting on it and mulling it over.
You probably didn't like her since the honeymoon. Since the honeymoon, you were probably like... Some people were saying because his ex-wife was Asian, they were saying he didn't like her because she was black. I didn't agree with that.
I didn't see them meet, so people were talking about his reaction to her was off, but I didn't see that part.
Anything else about Tim and Alex and kind of their interaction, besides the fact that they argued and he was a dick?
You know what I wrote down about her is Alex is a baddie and I have a crush on her. Tim
She had them titties out.
She's so fine, bro. She's so fine. Tim is weird. I felt triggered. I'm just trying to love you, girl. Head ass. Is what I wrote about him. So I think that to me gave like she was trying to get saved by the respectable guy, and the respectable guy turned out to be an asshole.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And when she was kind of, you know, it was interesting. Ooh, this part was interesting too. She was saying that she was like, why did you meet my dad? And he pretty much said, I had hesitations when I met your dad, but you asked me to do it, so I did it.
But he wrote that letter, which is weird as fuck.
The letter was from the pods.
Yes, you're right.
So what I would say is, like, as a man, if you don't know if you're going to marry this woman, you say no to her and you don't read that letter to her dad. You don't tell her dad that I'm going to accept her into my family and I love her as one. Yeah. You tell her I'm not ready to do that because I actually feel differently since we left the pods.
Yeah.
And that's what like a grown-up does. A grown-up doesn't do, well, I was a liar, but it was because you told me to lie. You don't do that.
There's something that I think...
Stand on your shit.
Stand on your shit. There's something that I think about that every time I watch a season, I get caught up on this question. I feel like that you kind of answered last time about like the fourth wall, but like every season there's a man or a couple men who, you know, bail out early or like are really unsure and the woman is always heartbroken or whatever. Mm-hmm. And a part of me gets it. Mm-hmm. I know that it's the experiment is to get married, like that you're signing up for what you sign up for. I totally get that.
Yeah.
If I were signing up, I'd be taking it seriously.
I wouldn't,
But there's another part of me that says expecting that, like it's a little bit delulu still to me, even if you're signing up for it and it's, you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever
expecting
it is.
What?
Expecting somebody to commit to you after that amount of time, experiment or not, is to me, whether you're signing up for the experiment or not, is a little bit delulu. For the women that every time they are so heartbroken, I'm just a little bit surprised. I'm like, really? You're that, like, you're that?
Because it's not just the surprise. Maybe you're not surprised, but you have the double of what other people don't have, which is you have humiliation. It's
right.
Humiliating.
It's on TV, which is what I get.
Humiliating.
Which is totally what I get.
I get what you're saying, though, but I just feel like
Is it
clearly
more
these women,
humiliation?
it's humiliation.
Okay,
and
that I understand.
it's a humiliation, and it's diving into a dream with someone and you guys having your own world and each other's back and them bailing out. Everyone in the world thinks what you're doing is crazy, and you think you found your person who's going to ride with you no matter if everyone thinks it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then to have them bail out is like you were lying. I think like, because if you notice, the women where it's bad from first meet aren't devastated.
Right.
It's the women where
it was great.
It was great on the honeymoon. It was great maybe the first week they came home, and then shit starts going south. I have no idea what those private conversations are, but I'm sure it's a shit ton of reassurance. It's us against the world, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of gaslighting.
So speaking of us against the world, let's move on to Tony Hinchcliffe.
Let's do it.
And him going to the mega rally at Madison Square Garden and doing a 12-minute set. And I'm saying set in quotes because there was maybe 5 jokes.
And it was not a set.
And they weren't funny.
Where do we start with this? What is your just thoughts? Just give me like just what you think before you say anything else. Just about it.
Okay. I thought he was bombing, which he could not have been bombing, to be fair, because like I couldn't see much of the audience besides him.
It wasn't raucous
and
laughter,
there weren't,
though.
Huh?
It wasn't crazy laughs, though.
It looked like he was bombing.
The audience response wasn't a part
of it. It
looked
looked like he was bombing for sure.
His reaction, his verbal reaction was, oh, y'all weren't feeling that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't feeling as confident.
The second thing I thought was, of course, he believes this, and of course, he's mega. I think like the Austin comic scene is,
ripe of this.
Ripe of this. And I also think like, so here was my overall thoughts. There was 2 things. One was,
like, if somebody asked
is free speech really under attack? Because that seems to be the rhetoric of all the comedians, why they're leaning on the right.
No.
No, it's not. I think that free speech isn't. I think depending on what you say, corporations and the algorithm will drop you because it's not profitable, which is the exact capitalistic system you guys applaud all the time.
And
you're not going to jail. You're not being fined. I think losing your job because of something you said on the internet is because you don't match the brand. And all of you comedians would be like, well, of course they dropped you because of the brand. Like, you guys would all say that. Like, companies are dropping people because of what's profitable, and being dropped by a company is not losing free speech. People aren't getting locked up for saying things. That's not happening.
This is not Russia. This is not China. This is not Korea.
It's not even Canada, where like you say things that are considered hate speech and you get like real.
Or Germany,
trouble.
right? You can't. Right, exactly.
It's not even like, so it's not real, and like you're literally crying because money isn't matching what you're saying, and also, every single time someone like Tony gets canceled, he makes more money on whatever alternative platforms he's on. So like, you're not even going to be financially in a really shitty place. You're just not going to be mainstream. Boo-hoo.
What do you think about comedians?
Our opinions have not been monetizable for years. Nobody gives a fuck what black women had. Nobody gave a fuck what black women had to say before 2010. Bloop. And so like, and even now, it's just an entertainment. That's it. Nowhere else. And like, none of us are crying because it wasn't monetizable. Everyone's looking at us and they're going, think about like when people try to say that people hate women because of the WNBA. No, it's not monetizable. Like, you guys love to use that argument for everything but free speech and comedy. What you're saying isn't monetizable. It's a small faction of the community that reflects that, and any big corporation isn't about it. And that includes the algorithm on YouTube.
You're Justin Austin.
It's okay. It's okay. Like, and so like this notion that like free speech is under attack because your video is not popping up first in the algorithm is the most privileged crybaby shit I done heard in a while.
He's literally, Tony, his big thing is he is the #1, live podcast in the world or something, but you somehow are getting...
There's a free speech is under attack, folks. And then when he said in his speech, every day I get messages about what words can and can't be said. Let's be very clear. They're not what words can and can't be said because you'll be pulled off YouTube. They're what words can and can't be said because you'll be demonetized. You won't get money. As somebody who posts shit on YouTube, you won't get money if you say certain words. So again, this isn't about you being even canceled. You won't get money if you say certain words. That is not the same as not having free speech.
And that is your personal choice.
Yes.
That is your personal choice.
And that's fine. Because guess what? Black and brown people haven't been making decisions forever, whether or not we want to stand on our values and make some money or make some money. Welcome.
That's the clip right there, bitch.
Welcome.
That's the clip right there, bitch.
So if y'all want to stand on your right-wing values and be demonetized, do it. That's what we've been doing.
Go look at all our YouTube videos and see how many people say we should pull off our videos because we're stupid and we should be canceled and how dare us. Go ahead. I'm not over here saying free speech died.
They don't have to listen.
Crying. People are crying about being demonetized and acting like it's a political issue. And then on top of it, they're getting up there and being like, I'm being censored. How? Half the fucking, at least 150 million people watch your video, Tony.
You're
How?
speaking for the president. You're not being censored. There's no way you can speak for like.
You're in one of the most famous comedy venues of all time doing a 12-minute set. In what world are you being censored?
You're on a national television getting to say racist shit about anybody you want, but you're being censored.
And you didn't go to jail.
And you didn't go to jail. You're not getting fined.
You're telling me because the capitalist system profited off of what you said by tearing you down that you're being harmed? Welcome. How long has capitalism been profiting off of Black and brown people being victims?
Give me a break.
Victim mentality, wokeness, fuck the left. Like your whole movement is a reaction to us. Like everyone has been profiting off of all of kinds of things. The pendulum swang one way and nobody can make money off of you right now. And you're literally crying. And
it's like, oh, people don't have the same sense of humor. No, people have, I think, more fine-tuned sets of humors. Nothing, you literally just called a whole country like a floating island of trash.
So let's talk about that. So first of all, you went to a non-comedy venue and did comedy. What did you think was going to happen? This wasn't a comedy show. This wasn't a comedy venue. So any protections you had under the basis of comedy, you didn't. You did tiny jokes in between propaganda. So like, let's be honest. So that's one. You kind of lost that protection when you left a comedy show. Two,
you're at Madison Square Garden.
There's far too many comedians right now who have podcasts that are ranting on their podcasts with racist rhetoric and then throwing a joke at the end and being like, why is everybody mad?
That's weird.
The reason why I can laugh at your joke is because there's a misdirection. I don't think you actually mean it. I can't laugh when I think you actually mean it. That's the whole point. Being racist and all of that is like, there's something about that that's either social commentary that you think is stupid or dumb, or you don't mean the joke. Neither one of those things are coming across to me. Why would I laugh at me being the butt of the joke when I think you actually mean it?
And comedians are always like, well, I'm saying it just to be funny. Are you saying it just to be funny for you or for the laughs? Because you're all saying that you want the laughs, but people like...
No, they're saying they don't care about the laughs. They're being authentic. It's more interesting to not, right? So like, their whole thing now is like, if everybody laughs at you, then you're hacked.
Right.
You have to be controversial. You have to be edgy. And what I say to that is being edgy on a comedy stage and being edgy at a Trump rally are two different things. The rhetoric that Trump says is anti-immigrant. It's anti-brown people. It's anti-Hispanic and Latino. And so when you are at a forum that's anti-Hispanic and Latino to a lot of people, and you say anti-Hispanic or Latino jokes, yeah, people are going to think you're not joking.
And I think that what they think they're doing is something like Richard Pryor, George Carlin, people who were kind of like counterculture, but leftist, but like were really critical of government or whatever. But they weren't punching down. They weren't criticizing people who were like lower than them or other. They were kind of punching up, kind of like, and I feel like these comedians are not getting that. They're kind of like trying to be like in the boys club or like in this thing.
They're bros.
They're bros.
This notion that like when you're not doing comedy, even if you're a comedian, you get to fall back on being a comedian. No,
you're a person.
You're a person when you're not doing comedy.
When you're not on stage, you're a person.
When you're in a podcast studio, you're a civilian.
Because you're not
doing a bit.
You're discussing things.
And I know when you're doing a bit. I can hear it. I can sense it. And I'm not going to be.
I think that's so important because comedians is all you are a comedian? Well, that's your whole identity. That's all that you stand for is just being a comedian, not anything else. Because that's weird.
Yes. No, they feel like that. And here's the thing is like, that's fine, but you're not always doing comedy when you're talking. So when you're not doing a bit, you are accountable for what you said. And you're not doing a bit for 2.5 hours on your podcast every week. You can't tell me 2.5 hours on your podcast every week is a bit.
That's really the one. I wish more people said that.
It's not. You can't tell me 2.5 hours or 90 minutes. You're doing a bit for 90 minutes. Fuck out of here.
When you and I are in conversation with each other, you're not doing a bit.
No.
We're in conversation with each other.
No.
At Adam, my brother. It's not all a bit, nigga.
And like, you might be trolling, but not for the whole 90. You're not trolling for the whole 90, and you're profiting off of people who don't think you're trolling and stoking hateful rhetoric. And again, a bit is different.
I will always stand behind a bit, and I'll always stand behind free speech. I don't think Tony should be locked up.
No.
I don't think he should be fined by the government. But if companies don't think he's profitable and don't want to support him, people don't want to go to his shows, people don't watch his shit, that's capitalism.
If you get labeled a certain way off of what you're saying,
Yeah.
I think that's on you too.
And everyone's going to be like, well, you just love capitalism. I don't love capitalism, but y'all do.
It's you.
All y'all love it. Tony probably fucking loves capitalism.
Joe Rogan,
So
the whole
lean
thing.
in. Lean in. This is what capitalism is. You're
complain
being
about the
counterculture.
socialists.
Being counterculture is sometimes profitable and sometimes it's not.
And this
That's
is how
your
it
licks.
goes. And this is how it goes.
That's your licks.
It's just show business is what they're actually talking about. It's like things go in and out of style. It's exactly what they're talking about.
Exactly what they're talking about. So those were kind of my thoughts. Do you have anything to add that I didn't say?
No, and it's so you know this, but I like almost up until currently have been watching Tony Hinchcliffe's podcast online, and he, they have
Kill Tony.
Kill Tony, and
I watched the podcast too. Is there a podcast that isn't Kill Tony? Because that's a live show.
No. I don't think. Sorry,
You've just been watching the live show Kill Tony.
I think of it as a podcast,
Yeah.
but it's a live show.
It's definitely not a podcast.
It's definitely not a podcast.
They do
It's a live
bits
show.
on that show.
They
I will give
they
him
bits.
that.
And it's literally a
And
show.
So this is though where I feel betrayed because I've never watched like it on my own, but I've watched several
Yeah.
episodes with you.
Yeah.
And I entered into those episodes laughing at racist rhetoric because
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit.
Same.
So to watch him get on the mega stage and
changes it.
realize it wasn't a bit,
The whole time he's saying what he thinks.
I feel different.
I can't watch it.
Like even with like Andrew Schultz, right? Like both of us have
Yeah.
been really into him. We watched Flagrant, we watched Brilliant Idiots. Like everything he said,
Mhm.
he has been given grace in my mind because I think it's a bit. You have demonstrated to me over time that you are a quality human and all this shit's a bit and you're trolling.
Mhm.
The second this year I started to feel like that might not be true, I felt differently consuming the
It
content.
takes it away.
It changes everything. And it's insulting to us as consumers that you think we can't tell the difference between when it's your true beliefs and a bit.
Bro, we can tell.
Come on.
And they're all, our true followers are distant, but
Okay. All right. You're not my family member. You're content I consume. I don't
can
have
just
to
exit out.
exit out at any time.
It's literally not that deep.
So we'll end on this.
Yeah.
What are your election predictions? Who do you think is going to win? Today is the
The 31st.
31st
We have
of
2
October.
days, maybe a week to go until we finally know.
It's Tuesday.
It's
It's
Thursday.
voting day.
Tuesday's voting day. Have you voted yet?
No, I'm going to vote on the day. I was voting on the day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go tomorrow.
I'm a noob.
I love it. For you. I usually do just because I forget about it. But
Call it, baby. You don't have to be right.
I mean, in my brain, I think Kamala's gonna win.
Okay.
I think Kamala's gonna win. I think that just based on what I'm seeing, I think Trump doesn't have the same support that he's getting. I don't hear that same fervor. It feels like people are like kind of more desperate with their takes about him to like push him or win or whatever it is. And I think I/others had the same feeling when Hillary was, and I didn't even like Hillary either, but I voted for her. But like people still had that same feeling about her, and she lost.
Yeah.
So
Kamala with a caveat.
Kamala with a caveat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I'm going to say Kamala because it's blasphemous to say otherwise.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, I don't even want to speak to an
even wanna
existence
put
that
it in-
she's not going to win.
I don't want to put it out there.
However, I think that the energy has turned towards Trump winning on the internet. I don't know if the internet reflects real life, but internet is saying Trump's winning. And that's not from people I'm following saying that. That's what I'm consuming.
No.
What I'm consuming is a shit ton of justification for Trump being not that bad, which is kind of what I was hearing before Hillary lost. I also think misogyny is real.
Mhm.
And I think that people in this country are hesitant to be led by a woman. I
agree.
don't even necessarily think it's like an outward hate towards women. I think it's
Can she
a
do it?
distrust of women's ability to run things. And I think it comes from like Christianity and this belief that men are closer to God and men are more logical and men are more sane. Like, I think it's an ingrained belief. I don't think people are looking at Kamala and going, I hate women. I
Well,
think
you can
they're looking
see
at
it.
her and poking holes in her that match with misogyny.
And you
she's
can-
not likable. She's too stern. She's not authentic. She's all of these things that I think wouldn't be an issue in another body.
Well, you can see too in just people's criticism of her. She's not a mom, or she doesn't have kids of her own, or whatever. They're just trying to.
Thank God she's not a mom. That's why she's fucking running for president.
Literally.
Yeah,
I
and-
could talk about this forever.
Yes. Last thing I wanted to end on. there's this whole demographic of people that everyone's hoping and praying that white women who have Trump husbands are secretly going to vote for Kamala. Do you think that's going to happen?
I do think that women are I think that some women are secretly going to vote for Kamala.
Mm-hmm. Because
of abortion, because she's a woman, because they hate Trump, because they hate their husbands, whatever the thing is.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be enough to sway the election?
I don't.
Okay. We'll find out.
I think I feel like every election is, there's this secret pocket that needs to do the thing, or there's this one.
Well, I think we all found out that one, either polls are bullshit with Hillary's. Polls are bullshit, or there's a lot of women who are lying about there's a lot of people who are lying about their vote. So I think
there's a lot of people lying about intending to vote.
At all?
Yeah. I think people say that they're going to vote and they're not.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. See you next week.
Bye,
we may or may not know the
guys.
election results.
Oh, yeah.
We may or may not be intoxicated next time.
Oh, my God.
We shall see.
Rocking back and forth. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head